Have you ever watched a company just explode onto the scene and wondered, how? It feels like they found some kind of cheat code for the game of business, right? A secret level everyone else just missed. Well, today, that's exactly what we're talking about. We're going to break down Dan Martell's framework for scaling so fast it actually feels like you're cheating.
And this quote right here, it says everything. This isn't just some theory from a book. Dan Martell built and sold 3 multi-million-dollar tech companies before he even turned 35. He's actually done this. And he says this insane speed comes down to a specific set of strategies that let you just bypass the usual grind. So today, we're going to unpack them. Let's get into it. All right, so here's the game plan. We're going to start with the mindset, then dive into 12 strategies broken down into 4 key pillars. We've got the foundation, which is what everything else is built on, then the engine that actually powers your growth. After that, the team you need to scale past yourself, and finally, the advanced moves for true scale. So let's start at the beginning with the foundation. Because look, before you even think about scaling, you have to nail 2 things. First, getting cash in the door, and second, creating an offer so good it's a no-brainer. If you get these wrong, honestly, nothing else we talk about is going to matter. Okay, strategy number 1, get out of the perfection trap. You know what I'm talking about? Founders who spend months, sometimes years, just endlessly tweaking their logo or their website. But here's the hard truth. You're not really an entrepreneur until you sell something to a complete stranger. That is the real starting line. So the first cheat code is to stop polishing and just start selling. Your only job at the beginning is to get cash in the bank. And that brings us to a really critical point. There is a massive difference between receivables, money that's promised to you on an invoice, and actual real cash in your bank account. You can't pay your team with an invoice. You can't fund that big marketing idea with a promise. Cash is literally the oxygen for your business. Without it, the whole thing just grinds to a halt. So how do you get that cash flowing? Strategy number 2 is all about your offer. You have to make it so good, so compelling, that a prospect would feel kind of dumb for walking away. And this isn't about listing a million features. It's about solving a really painful problem so well that the value is just undeniable. It's a shift from talking about what you do to focusing on the transformation your client gets. The psychology here is just brilliant. It all starts with that clear promise of transformation. But then you add these 3 powerful layers. You create urgency to get them to act now. You add scarcity by saying something like, we only accept 5 new clients this month to guarantee results. And then the real magic bullet, risk reversal. A guarantee that if they put in the work and don't get the result, they get their money back. It just melts away their fear and shows them how confident you are. Okay, so you've got cash coming in and a killer offer. Now it's time to build the engine. This is where you move on from that chaotic hustle and grind phase and start building a predictable machine, a system that gets results every single day, whether you feel like working or not. Strategy number 3 is to build a marketing system, not just a marketing plan. This sounds small, but it's a huge shift. A plan depends on you. And Martell says that when it works, founders get this weird guilt, like it was a lucky fluke they can't repeat. But a system, that's a process. It's repeatable, it's predictable, and someone else can run it. When a system works, it's not luck, it's design. And here's how you do it. It's called the camcorder method. And it's so simple, it's genius. The next time you do something that gets you a lead, just record yourself doing it. That video is now your source material. From there, you document the process, step by step. You define the cadence, how often it needs to happen, and you wrap it up with a simple checklist. That's it. You've basically just cloned your own marketing genius. So this takes us from systemizing the business to systemizing yourself. And it all starts with this one brutally honest question. We all say time is money, right? But do we actually know what our personal exchange rate is? If you want to scale, you have to become ruthless about how you spend your minutes. Which brings us to strategy number 4, the time audit. For 2 straight weeks, every 15 minutes, you write down exactly what you just did. No judging. If you scrolled Instagram for an hour, you write it down. Then you grab a red pen and highlight every single task that just drained your energy. This isn't about making you feel bad. It's about getting real data so you can make smarter choices. Now that audit leads to the super powerful number, your buyback rate. Don't worry, the formula is simple. Take your annual income goal, divide it by 2,000 working hours in a year, and then divide that by 4. That final division is the secret. It gives you a really conservative rate for tasks you just shouldn't be doing. So if your goal is $1 million a year, your buyback rate is $125 an hour. Any task you can pay someone less than that to do, you delegate it, period. Now that you have that data, strategy 5 is to stop treating your calendar like a to-do list and start treating it like a weapon. You have to proactively block out 10 to 15 hours every single week for things that directly generate revenue. And you schedule those things based on your own energy. Deep, focused work when you're at your sharpest, creative stuff when you're feeling more open. You literally design your week for peak performance.
Okay, so now we're connecting your personal productivity to the business's productivity. Because once you're optimized, you have to find what's slowing the whole company down. And the number one enemy of speed is the bottleneck. A business can only move as fast as its slowest part.
Strategy number 6 is all about hunting down and destroying those bottlenecks. I love this analogy. Imagine a car factory. You can make 100 car bodies a day. You can make 10 engines a day. But the tire department, they can only produce 4 tires a day. And well, a car needs 4 tires. So how many complete cars can you possibly ship? 1. Just 1. Your entire factory, with all that potential, is choked down to making a single car, all because of one constraint. Spending money to make more engines would be a total waste until you fix that tire problem. And believe me, every single business has a tire problem somewhere. Your job is to find it. So how do you fix them? You give your team the 50 to fix it rule. Any employee can spend up to $50 to fix a bottleneck they see. No permission needed. For a team lead, maybe it's $500. For a manager, $5,000. This one rule turns your entire company into a bottleneck hunting army, constantly making the whole system faster. All right, your foundation is solid, your engine is humming along nicely. But a powerful engine sitting in a garage doesn't really go anywhere, does it? So now we're at the third pillar, building a team. This is where you go from addition to multiplication. It's how you finally break free of the limits of your own time. Strategy number 7 is the one that's hardest for founders to accept. Your primary goal is to replace yourself, systematically. And the very first, most high-impact hire is almost always an executive assistant. Why? Because they can immediately take over the 2 biggest time sucks: your email, which is basically just a to-do list other people create for you, and your calendar. That one hire can buy you back 10, 15 hours a week, instantly. And that first hire leads us to strategy number 8. Increasing your talent velocity. Think about this for a second. You have a funnel for getting customers, right? Well, you also need a funnel for getting talent. Talent velocity is just a measure of how quickly and effectively you can attract, hire, and develop A players. When you're trying to scale, your ability to hire great people is just as crucial as your ability to find new customers. And the key is to stop hiring reactively when you're already desperate. Instead, you design the organization you're going to need 12 months from now. You literally draw the future org chart. Then you compare it to your team today and you see the gaps. And from there, you build a people plan to hire for those roles, starting with the one that'll make the biggest impact. Remember, you don't build a business. You build people, and then the people build the business. This brings us to strategy number 9, which tackles the biggest founder bottleneck of them all: sales. So many of us believe deep down, nobody can sell this like I can. And you know what? That belief will put a permanent ceiling on your growth. The whole goal is to scale sales without you having to be on every single call. And the playbook is pretty much the same as it was for marketing. You systemize everything. You create detailed talk tracks, basically scripts for handling key moments and common objections. You record your best sales calls and turn them into a training library. And you set up the compensation to reward hungry performers. A base salary that covers their bills, but the real money comes from commissions. That's how you attract hunters, not just farmers. So we've laid the foundation, we've built the engine, and we've assembled the team. Now we're at the final pillar: scale. These are the advanced master-level strategies for creating growth that's not just exponential, but sustainable for the long haul. This quote just nails strategy number 10: pay for the blueprint. Seriously, you could spend the next decade making every mistake in the book, learning through painful trial and error. Or you could find someone who's already where you want to be and pay them for their map. It's the ultimate cheat code. Martell says his first coach cost him $100,000, but made him over $1 million that first year. It's not a cost, it's an investment in speed. Strategy 11 deals with the silent killer of growth: churn. I mean, it doesn't matter how many new customers you're cramming in the front door if your old ones are just slipping out the back. It's like trying to fill a bathtub with the drain wide open. You're just going to burn yourself out to stay in the exact same place. And the impact of fixing this it's just staggering. One of Martell's clients was losing 10% of their customers every single month. They made a few simple tweaks to their onboarding, and they cut that churn rate down to 3%. The result? The lifetime value of every single new customer they got quadrupled. Just think about that. The same marketing efforts suddenly produced 4 times the results. So how do you fix your retention? It really boils down to this one simple, powerful question. What is the fastest, most tangible, quick win you can give a new client within their first 48 hours of working with you? If you can get them a real result that fast, you prove your value immediately, and they'll never even think about leaving. And that leads us to our 12th and final strategy. This is the founder's endgame. Once all the systems are running and the team is executing, your job changes completely. It's not about doing the work anymore. It's about creating the environment for the work to get done. Your job is to live exclusively in your zone of genius.
And as the CEO, your zone of genius really only has 3 parts. First, vision, painting a picture of a future that doesn't exist yet and getting your team excited to build it. Second, money, making sure the company has the capital it needs to make that vision a reality. And third, people, ensuring the right people are in the right roles. That's it. This is the stuff that only you can do. So let's just tie it all together. You see how it's a sequence, right? You start by laying a solid foundation with cash and an offer they can't refuse. Then you build the engine with systems and by killing every bottleneck you can find. You multiply all your efforts with a world-class team. And finally, you hit true scale by buying the blueprints, locking down your retention, and living in your zone of genius. And that really is the ultimate goal. When you build a business this way, delegating everything that drains you and focusing only on what gives you energy, the whole thing changes. It stops feeling like a grind and it starts to feel like a game that you were born to win. As Martell says, when it looks like work but feels like play, you've won. So we'll leave you with one last question to take with you. Looking back on all of this, from buying back your time to systemizing your sales, just ask yourself this. What is the one thing the 10x version of you, the you who's already achieved all this, would do today?